Hey, we're live. Welcome, everyone. August 5th, 2024. I'm Shane Oglow, along with my partner, Richard Hodges. And hey, we're the Rogue Traders. And a little bit off script, a little bit of a surprise session today. Normally do Deribit live on Thursdays. This isn't really Deribit live. It's more of a Deribit kind of emergency. Everyone needs a group hug. What the hell's going on in the world? I usually start things off, on this day in history, and then I try to make some clever segue. But on this day in history, Bitcoin dropped 18% today.
And the financial world ended.
Yeah. So we've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of moving parts. Never mind the Bitcoin component. And I think that it really warrants a discussion. There's probably, I don't know how many liquidations there was last night across the board. I suppose we'll know a little bit later.
Well, I've read $1 billion so far.
$1 billion so far. Not too surprising. We know people are always leveraged long. Even if you're not over leveraged, a big move can smack you, and it can happen. So let's just sort of calm things down, put things in perspective, talk about what's going on, what we might expect to continue happen, both in the Bitcoin market and some elements of TradFi, and on a broader, central banking issue. And then, hey, what can we do? Well, what have we got going on? Some of our accounts got hit, some are up. Why? What's the difference? Obviously, if we've got a long strategy like the synth miner strategy we normally share with everyone, that's going to take a hit because it's a long strategy. What do you expect? If you buy Bitcoin, it goes down, you're underwater. So I think those things need to be discussed. And if people want to have a bit of Q&A, we could do that. If you've got difficult positions or you're having a hard time understanding what's happening to your account, we're happy to sort of discuss those things and talk about it. So let me just share. I just got a slide here with the topic. Basically, it's sink or swim right now. This could sink people. We could keep going, or it could be. This could be an incredible opportunity, I think, and for a lot of people, and it really depends on where your mindset is at.
What film does that remind me of? Where that reminds me of Friends, where what's his name? Who's the dorky one?
Chandler?
No, not Chandler.
No. The tall, goofy guy I don't like very much.
David Schwimmer.
Yeah.
And he's talking to Isabella Rossellini. And he says, Isabella, this could be a great opportunity. And she goes, yeah, for you.
Well, look, I was never a huge Friends fan, but I watched a few episodes. More of a Seinfeld guy.
I was a bit more of a Isabella Rossellini fan myself.
Gotcha. Yes. So Bitcoin right now is about 51,000. It's kind of hanging around 50 to 51. We've had a little bounce up to around 53 or so a few hours ago. So it's kind of found its legs. U.S. market just opened. VIX at 62. We were so used to VIX being around 12.
So let's cover off the sort of macroeconomics behind it. So the news at the moment in the Bitcoin markets is that Jump have been program selling Bitcoin, and the rumor is that BlackRock have been program buying it on the dips, and Jump was selling. We're selling on behalf of. We're helping a miner to dump, and that miner is now out of the game because they're bust, and the Bitcoin hash rate has then now gone up as a result. I don't know how true any of that is because I used to work with some of the guys at Jump, but I don't speak to them these days. Not for any, I just don't have cause to, and they wouldn't tell me anyway. That's probably less relevant than the fact that the entire dollar-yen carry trade is under threat. Since interest rates on the Bank of Japan rose to 0.25% back in March, which is an infinity percent jump from zero, or negative, or more than infinity from negative. You can no longer now borrow yen at zero and spend it on US assets. And of course, Wall Street being Wall Street, people were borrowing yen at stonking levels of leverage that would make crypto degens look tame, to then use stonking levels of leverage to go and buy US assets, such as treasuries and stocks and so on. And the result is that I keep banging on about this, even though Intel has dumped 25%, or it did last Friday, its PE price earnings ratio was still 89 times. And just to put that into context, that means that if you own Intel, or if you owned Intel on Friday, it's probably a bit worse now, you were betting $89 for every dollar of future annual income. So you were saying, here's my $89, take that, put that at risk, and I'm happy to receive $1 in income per year. And if I'm wrong, you can keep my $89, which I think is utter degeneracy, right? That's literally 89 times leverage on your returns. And even if you were right and it was going to return $1 a year, you wouldn't live long enough to actually see your money double. So what's the point? So that's the level of degeneracy that we've been seeing in the US markets. And if the carry trade is going to unwind, and that's going to very much depend on whether the Bank of Japan, the bank, and the Fed want to stop it unwinding by suddenly creating super low interest rate environments again, or whether they can, whether the US dollar could survive that in global markets now that China is no longer a subordinate nation, and people have been buying gold. This is unknown, and so I think that's the reason for or part of the reason for the high levels of volatility we're seeing. So the VIX at 65, that's definitely sell territory, by the way. The Bitcoin this morning, vol was 105 at the money. The 1 month, it's now a bit less, but it's still more than 100 volume within a one week, by the way. So and it's that uncertainty that's creating the vol, and I haven't even mentioned the sideshow of the beginning of Armageddon at the hands of the Israelis and the Iranians. But actually, that is actually a sideshow. That's a choreographed war, I believe, which has no effect on any of this really. It just acted as a catalyst. And then the sideshow of the earnings report, the unemployment numbers that came out of the US on Friday, utterly irrelevant to any of this stuff. But it's a nice catalyst, and it's a nice news story to pin the blame of this fall on unemployment numbers. But when the hell did a slight increase in unemployment cause a mega sell-off in global markets? It never did, right? There's something more fundamental at stake. And what's at stake is this threat of unwinding the carry trade, and that's what you're seeing in Bitcoin. And just to finish that off, that train of thought off, I believe this is long-term bullish for Bitcoin and gold and anything hard currency, because unwinding the carry trade means a massive global deleveraging event globally, and people are going to want to flee to harder assets. So rather than some bullshit tech offering that promises to print 1000x, one day in the future, they're going to want things that actually print the money.
Well, I think that's a good point, and this could be a really incredible opportunity for buying. And I think that we're going to see the numbers come up tomorrow. Is BlackRock buying? I suspect they're buying it all. We saw the market just bounced a little bit here, small, nothing significant, but it's kind of hanging around this area. I do kind of feel that. Well, I can share a chart in a little bit, but we might look back in 2 weeks or 1 month or 6 weeks or 2 months and go, "Oh man, what an opportunity!" Just like we saw with every other big dip. The long-term macro situation on Bitcoin, to me, hasn't changed yet. There's no reason that we should think that, this thing's going to 15,000 or to zero or anything.
If anything, the corporates in the States are the financial elite are absolutely behind Bitcoin now. You're no longer the rebels owning Bitcoin. You're now the pawns in the big chess game. JP Morgan, come Wednesday, will be allowing their advisors to suggest to high net worth Americans that they include the BlackRock ETF in their portfolios. That is so by high net worth, what that means is any American with a net worth of more than $1.5 billion, which is, let's face it, all Americans. Bar the ones that are it's not unusual to have $1 million of net worth in the States, right?
Net worth, yeah.
Own a house and have a bit of savings and some stock. You've got $1 million, right?
Yeah. I think we need to start running some type of Wolf of Wall Street operation where we got a call center in our homes and we're just calling people.
What if I could get you in at 50 and get you out at 200?
Exactly. Yes. I forgot to say hi to everyone who come in. Some of our regulars, Deribit here, Corj, Andrea, Vladimir, Johannes. And, Johannes, yes, praised be the 3X cover gods.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about that. Well, we can talk about that right now. So,
I can show you on my screen if you want.
Sure. Go ahead. And I'll just mention too something while you're loading that up is last night I on one of the prop accounts I had to control margin, so I was buying some 58,000 puts for 2 to 3 basis points, and I think I bought a Bitcoin or 0.9 of a Bitcoin on one account. Well, when I woke up this morning, of course, there was carnage, and that extra coverage, just because it was there to control margin, was worth a boatload, and my account was actually at a new high. Now I didn't realize all of that profit because I didn't sell it all, but boy, that double, triple covering. Now this was more than double or triple, but it can save your bacon when the market takes a move. Yeah.
So here you see on the screen. I don't know if you can see this if it's big enough. Let me zoom in here.
Yeah, that's a bit better.
So here's a position that you rather foolishly took. Was it last night or this morning? 52k puts short, which you thought was a sure thing, right?
No, that was this morning. I liked it. I still like it. I think we're going to be okay.
And but you went 3x cover. Thank God. I think you called me and said I'm going to do this one by 2, and I said, what about 1 by 3? And you were like, yeah, okay.
yeah. You were on your way to the bus station or the airport or something. I don't know.
And actually, even though this position's underwater, this was actually 5 minutes ago we were $1,000 lower, and this was even more apparent. But look, this one short is worth 465 basis points per Bitcoin, and the cover is worth 167. But of course, there's 3 of them. So times 3, that's 470. Mm-hmm. So actually, the cover is worth currently more than the put spread, than the short put. Yeah. So we sold this at a credit, and we could buy it back at an even bigger credit today, right now. And this is the magic of 1 by 3s. They're really, really volatile and nice in this kind of market, because you get really good opportunities to be wrong and then be right and get out. Yeah. You can see that down here in the position report here. Yeah. You can see that the actual so there's the P&L of that position. So we're actually 4 basis points positive in P&L. And of course you can just buy it back, or you can roll it, or whatever you want to do with it, right?
Yeah, or we could choose to sell 0.1 of those 0.3, take some cash off the table, to say, okay, we think there could be a bounce here.
Yeah, could do that.
And let it go up. We could do that.
Although
if you think the market's going to continue down.
So that's the kind of thing I would do if we actually got down below 48. I'd be thinking, okay, I'm going to take 0.2 of that cover off and reap in the profits, and then I'll just leave that call spread in the money as just basically it's a put spread in the money, but in the money put spread is effectively a free call spread, or a call spread that you've already paid for.
Oh no, that expires on Friday. That's the 9th. That's what was tomorrow, but it's the 9th. Yeah. Actually, let me. And again, if anybody has any questions, just dump them in the chat, and we'll chat later on. Let me just share my screen here.
I think there is already one question.
Yeah. Well, I'll just share this first, and we'll go over there. So can you can see my screen, Richard? Am my mouse moving around?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Okay, great. So it was interesting. Just before this call, I was looking at this, and look, this is an 18% move, right? From it's actually from up here, from yesterday to today, from tip to tail, about 18%. Huge. I mean, that's a massive move. And I was thinking, well, when's the last time we had a move that big? And I was like, well, back here, no, that's like 12 or 13%. That wasn't so big. Interesting. The last time we had a move, 18% plus was on the way up. 25% move. Now that happened over a couple of days from the level we're at right now. Isn't that interesting? I can pull that over right here, and it matches up perfectly. The other thing that's worth noting is it just hit the unicorn. Uh-oh. Unicorns are rare and wonderful creatures. And we just went to the unicorn. So this is a rare and wonderful time to do something. Now, if you had a flat account, Richard, let's say you just got dropped on Planet Trading, and you said, oh, Richard, your job every day is just to trade, and here's an asset, and you've got some money to buy something. What would you do right now looking at this chart? You'd probably start buying.
Yeah.
Or at least scaling in. There's nothing saying this thing can't go down to 40,000 where there's a larger area of support. But every single time we've had this crazy dip down, crazy dip up, crazy dip up, crazy dip up. We're taught, in Option School 101, when something is moving one way and it's going against some positions, what are you doing? You're selling options on the opposite side. So as it's plummeting, you're selling calls to earn income while it's going down. Nothing too controversial about that. It's pretty basic stuff. It's super, super important that if you're doing that, you're covering them off at least 2x, maybe 3x. Super, super important, because every single time this has happened in the past, it's down here and it's threatening at 54, 55 like it was at the beginning of July, and you were selling, 60,000 calls against it. All of a sudden, those are $10,000 against you. Holy guaca frickin' moly, right? Why won't that happen again? Are we going to see a bounce to 60? I don't know, but the chances are pretty damn good. It's Bitcoin. But the fact that we had this up move on this side to create this range that we've been in for several months, and then a huge move on the other side to cap it off is quite interesting. I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of volatility. I kind of thought on the U.S. Open we might poke our way down to 45 or something, 44, 43. I was hoping for that, actually. And then, boom, we're up above 50, 55 or something like that again. Now, that did not happen. In fact, we're bouncing up a little bit right now, 52.5 right now. Quite interesting. We can see everything selling off. I think the futures here, oil, I was talking about oil. It's actually taking a bit of a bounce. We've got the VIX, 53. It was just at 60-something. We've got the S&P. It's taken a bit of a bounce too. So I kind of like a lot of these things here to. I don't want to say buy because it's going up, because I don't know. We could be going down to 40, but if we go on patterns, this could be an incredible opportunity, or at least to start scaling in. Is this going to be the bottom? Is the bottom going to be here? Is it? I don't know, but I think we just have to look at the past and not get too panicky. The other thing I wanted to share with you is, and Richard pointed this out. So we just had our members call with our Rogue Trader Academy members. It was a great call. And we wanted to take a look at this S&P. And if we look at the daily chart, so what? Yeah, sure, it's a big move. Yes. Could it be part of like a freaking, avalanche that ends up being, a bigger, longer term bear market? I don't know. It could be. But I mean, look, we're above 5,000. And it's just part of the natural cycle. Here's a massive, much larger move over here, way back in February, right? Look at that. That's a pretty sizable move that happened over a couple of days at 35%. They quickly retraced it. So I think that for a lot of people that are very concerned or panicking right now, I don't know, this is kind of normal fare, normal staple for the Bitcoin. If we step back and look at the macro picture, it's important to not get panicky and wicked out. I think the important thing is to always maintain discipline with your level of margin, so you can give yourself room to absorb these things. Yes, okay, maybe your equity got cut in half or in a quarter, and it sucks as an option seller, but as long as you can adjust those positions, you can roll it back. You can pull that back in And it might take you a week or 2 months, who knows, but you can do it. And I think that's very, very important. A lot of people are really panicking. Could this be the part, the yen unwind, the end of free money that everyone's known for the last 30 years? Could be. We could be in for, this could be a really historic event, day one. Yeah, we know that Buffett was, sold half of his Apple shares. These signals have been coming in the market for a while that was signaling it could be a top. We don't know, though. We don't know.
Yeah.
Markets are very dynamic.
Do we have questions?
Probably. Let's see here. Sylvanus, even the feds may have an emergency cut, so emergency allowed. James, thank you very much. Yes, it's an emergency call. How do you make money on 1x3, not on theta? Well, that's a good question, Brad. You can make a money on 1x3. It just depends on where that strike is. The further away from the money it is.
The long and short of it is that you can enter into a 1x3, for example, at zero cost or for a small credit, depending on the market. It depends on how steep the smile is. If the smile is shallow, then you can go in actually quite cheaply, particularly in short dated 1 week, 2 week. If the smile is steep, then not so cheap. But the premise is in this scenario is that so your risk premium, what you've sold, brings you premium to pay for the cover. And what you're hoping to do is get rid of the risk premium or get the cover to be worth more than the risk premium. So you take a net profit. And what you find on a big market move is that not only will vols increase, but they will increase more the further away from the money you are and in the direction of the move. So that all works in your favor with the 1x3. Because as you get in the money on your short leg, on say puts, your puts then start getting in the money, so they start essentially becoming inverted calls. So they've got lower vol because the smile is skews towards the puts, but your long puts are accelerating in price at 3 times the rate of your short puts, and so there's a sweet spot in terms of time decay and time to run, where overall your long legs are worth more than your short legs. So very, very nice for rising vol markets. And we like to use them for as like a speculative hedge against a big move, because it's like a zero cost hedge against a massive black swan event. And it was also something we thought, we woke up. Well, I woke up at 2 a.m. this morning for some reason. I actually dreamt that we would see 55k Bitcoin. And I woke up with a start and then looked at my phone and saw it at 58. And I thought, I'm not dreaming nonsense. And then literally as I watched my phone, the price melted down to 55.
Next time you get the lottery numbers in your dream, and then of course below. So we knew it was going to be volatile. So we thought, opening up a 1x3 is probably not a bad idea. And actually opening up in both directions probably isn't a bad idea, to be honest. Say 2 weeks out, it's probably a good trade in my view. One thing I quickly wanted to mention before we go to the next question is, so this was our previous support and resistance that I had drawn, and we're below that. So a lot of people say, okay, well, that's invalid now. So not so fast. So if it wicks down here and stays down here for a week or two, it's probably invalid. This might turn into resistance and bonk our head. But if we move back up into the zone and we grind back up, wick through support and resistance areas happen all the time. So to me, this support zone is not invalid yet from a technical standpoint, because it needs to close and stand there for a little bit. Little poke throughs, they happen all the time. That's why I kind of thought that I thought we'd see a crazy capitulation wick, down to 41 or something, just crazy, right? I was kind of hoping for that. It still might happen. I don't think the more time goes by, the less that's probably likely to occur. But we used to seeing those things, and they skew people's interpretation.
So I tell you one thing. I think I was literally just on a client call with a hedge fund client who was actually asking, called me and said, "What should we do?" And my advice was actually, I think there's been program buying, selling for sure, but there's definitely program buying going on as well. and that program buying is not leveraged. And I think anyone who was leveraged is now wrecked, and they're going to stay wrecked for like 2 weeks or a month before they could get confidence to come back in. So I think that the buying we're seeing that's supporting the price here is solid money that is going nowhere. That's my gut feeling. And please don't trade on the basis of this, because I just told you that I did a trade on the basis of a dream, for God's sake. So
but we are at the full moon,
and we are at the full moon as well, which is always good for. Sorry, the new moon, which is always good for stocks. Yeah. No, but I think anyone who was leveraged long is now wrecked and unable to get leveraged long again, right? So they can't exacerbate the problem because they're dead. And actually, the guys at Deribit could probably tell me, and that's my gut feeling, but I'm sure they could tell me the numbers of how many of their customers got wrecked, right? And Binance could do the same. And that means that all the buying now is cash money, which is good, which will go nowhere. And I suspect if I were BlackRock and I knew that my product was about to be sold by the second biggest bank in America to the people on Earth with the most money, I would be gobbling up as much Bitcoin as I possibly could. And if anything, I'd have, and if I knew that was coming, being the evil Machiavellian guy I am, I would have made a phone call to Jump and ask them to do this. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying I would do it, right? So it all starts to me to smell of, this is probably a fairly good place to start scaling in for myself.
I see a headline here: futures plummet as VIX hits 62. Japan suffers worst point drop in history.
Yeah.
And we were talking with our members on our call too, because I trade quite a bit of currencies. I'm still not wanting to buy the yen yet. I think there might be more.
The thing is, it's a dice roll, right? Will the Bank of Japan intervene? Won't they? Can they? Yeah. If they do, does it? I mean, man,
trying to pick the bottom is too hard on there. And if you do want to get in, I always scale in. So it's like, yeah, it goes against me, not a big deal. I'll just average it in, but just be very careful, I think.
One thing I keep thinking about is, if, let's say, the Fed do want to fix this and say, screw it, we're going to bring interest rates down to zero again. We're going to bootstrap the economy and make everything great again, in our own sort of horrible way. Is the US carrier fleet enough of a threat to everybody else today to let them get away with that, like they did in 2001 and 2005 and 7, right, and 8? Is the US taken as seriously as it was? Well, you've only got to look at what's going on in the Middle East. We got Iran thumbing its nose at the US. I mean, they know not to push it too far, but they're pushing it, right? You got Russia pushing it in Ukraine. You got China pushing it with what's it called, Philippines. Everyone's flexing, right? And the US isn't stamping it out. So I don't think the US has the moral, the might is right moral authority to get away with zero interest rates again. I think that could cause a run on the US.
Yeah, we see the US dollar very weak this morning. It's off its lows right now, but it could be the part of a bit broader trend. So I'll be very careful on the currencies there.
So and putting my money where my mouth is, what I'm doing, and this is not by no means advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. Is I'm buying a little bit of Bitcoin and I'm buying as much gold as I can get.
I think gold has bounced a little bit too. It was down about 2% right now.
But I mean, but down nothing, right? Because it's still at what, 2,400?
Bitcoin's bouncing right now. Let's see, the gold at 20. Yeah, just under 2,400 right now. Gold.
I mean, that's still high compared to like 3 months ago, right?
Yeah. When I was looking at the chart, I thought, oh boy, I don't want to really buy that. And if it gets down, 1,800 or something, I can't remember what the number was. I'm not a gold bug. Bitcoin just hit 53.
I'll pay $400 for gold every day of the week for the next forever. Yeah.
You're like Goldfinger from Austin Powers.
Absolutely.
God. I can't do the Dutch accent.
The thing is that Bitcoin is good because you can't produce any more Bitcoins without everyone agreeing to modify the algorithm or starting a new blockchain and agreeing to use that one instead. But gold is good because in order to get more gold, you've got to cause a supernova, and no one can do that.
Well, we'll start mining asteroids, Richard.
Well, okay. I mean, once you get to the point where you've got a whole spatial infrastructure for mining and transporting gold from asteroids, let's talk again. But until then,
we'll have to get Elon Musk on one of our calls. Hey? What do you think?
Yeah, that'd be good, right?
That'd be fun. Core says 48K was an important level to hold. Yeah, it very well could be. It looks like for now it's held, and I wouldn't be surprised next Deribit Live, maybe not this week, but next week, if we're back in the 60s going, holy crap, what a week.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen, but
we've got a question about this, haven't we? There's a question here. How long do you have to wait? If you're deep in the money put spreads 61 to 56, dated 16th of August, what is the best timing and approach for rolling that position? I think if it was me, I would just buy futures and leave it
and wait and see.
Yeah, but buy some puts, buy some futures, and leave it run. I think that is actually what I'm doing on my book.
And August 16th is an eternity in Bitcoin time.
Yeah, it's forever. By that time, there could have been declaration of war, in which case stocks will go up.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, did you see the price of Raytheon this morning? It was like a vertical.
No.
You know the Bitcoin meme where they like come on, do something, and then it zooms up and blows them in the head. That's exactly what US defense futures did this morning. I mean, we could have had the central bank slashing rates to 3.5%. We could have had Bank of Japan saying, "Screw it, we're going back negative again." Yeah. We could have had. It could have anything. It could have all of the central banks getting together and saying, "We can't have this. We need a more managed." We could be anywhere.
Paul's also asking, he's saying, is it too late to do a 1x3 now that vol is 100 plus?
Could you do it on the ups? I wouldn't. Would I do it on the downside now? 250. You could do it now. You could sell the 52 like we've got. We're short the 52 and long the 48 for Friday.
This Friday, yeah.
And you get a credit for it. I think 150, 220. It'd be zero value. Yeah, you could do it, and you could probably do it on the upside for zero value. I suspect. I mean, yeah, you could anywhere. Say 55s. You could receive 260.
Yes.
And then pay, you could pay for 59s times 3. It's moving. I wouldn't do it now. It's moving around a lot, but
we're almost at 54 now. Yeah.
But for disaster, it's always nice to have tail risk on, and having some 1x3s in there is always nice.
And I understand people's reluctance sometimes, by buying tail risk or doing these 1x3s. It feels like you're just throwing money out the window. And most of the time, let's be frank, you are. But boy, it saves your bacon sometimes. And I just so happened to have margin control tail risk on, which paid me 2,000% return or whatever the hell it was. It was nuts. It happens a few times a year.
Ever since Thursday, I've had 10% down put cover on. So I'm in a book where I'm normally writing positions that are in size 0.2 or 0.1 of a Bitcoin. I had cover on a Bitcoin, one Bitcoin for Friday, one for Saturday, Sunday, and I had another 2.5 Bitcoin cover for this Friday coming up. And the Saturday, Sunday stuff all got in the money. So that I paid like 2 basis points a day for that, and it paid off like 250 basis points. I mean, and the stuff on Friday, I think I paid 20 basis points total, so like 3 basis points a day for it. And
I must admit, this morning I had a pang in my heart, a P-A-N-G pang, because I thought, here I am. I'm selling these. I'm selling for 350 basis points. These things that I bought last night for 2 basis points, and I had a pang for the person who sold them to me at 2 basis points.
Wow. Yeah. Imagine selling anything at 2 basis points. I mean, unless you're trying to clean up, just before expiry. But
okay. But if you're selling it to make money, it's like, wow.
you've got to be insane.
Yeah, that's the proverbial pennies in front of a steamroller, right? Okay,
Breaking
question
news.
from
Breaking news: U.S. stock market sees massive 1.93 trillion loss as
Holy
Nasdaq plummets 1,000 points.
guacamole. Are you reading that on the Deribit newsfeed?
No, that's on WarX on Telegram. That's it's like a trillion here, a trillion there. Sooner or later, you're talking real money.
Boy, oh boy. Question from Johannes. 1x3s. There's a point where theta flips negative. What's a good start for rolling or waiting? That's a real good question. Yep.
My rule of thumb is that I will roll unless I think it's going to carry on going down. If I'm in the money on the cover, then I'm happy to sell enough cover so that I'm still covered. So so on a 1x3, so on that 52.48 1x3, for example, if we got down to say 46, I'd be happy to sell 1.1 or 0.2 of the cover and leave the 0.1 in, covering the 0.1 short, something like that. But you're always looking to get out at a profit, right?
Did we sell a third of those 48 long puts? I can't remember. You're sugar.
No, we were discussing it, but we've missed our chance now because the market's now at 53 and a half.
Yeah. So all we'll do is if it expires above here tomorrow, then all we'll do is collect the premium we collected from selling, which wasn't a ton, maybe it was 60 basis points or something. So my trade was a good one, Richard.
Good.
I think you called me boneheaded earlier, but hey, trader instincts. I've been doing this 25 years.
No, I'd never be so rude. It was aggressive, but
joking. Question from Vladimir. I think interested question. Okay, I think I've been interested. How do you think we break a level or just updated the bottom? Well, I think I did talk about that too by the chart. I don't consider that support invalid unless we kind of close and hold below there a little bit. To punch through it is really not that uncommon in anything. Never mind Bitcoin, but any volatile assets. A lot of time I trade currencies, same thing. When it pokes in through a support or resistance area, it's not invalid for me unless it decides to kind of close and hold there, and then it's like, okay, it's done. But it is an industry, and I'm not a super chart technician guy. I only use three things when I'm trading that style of trading, and I'm using market direction, I'm using support and resistance, and I'm using price action. That's it. I don't use any fancy Fibonacci's. I don't do anything else because I find that so often those other indicators just align with whatever else what the market's telling me anyways. So it just
and also if you do what everyone else does, you're going to get what everyone else gets, right? And most people get wrecked.
Yeah, and that's why for beginning traders, I always say, hey, this is a good spot where you think you're going to get in. Great, do it at 1/5 of their size or 1/10 your size. And if it goes against you, are you prepared to scale it? If that's your strategy, okay. Are you going to hedge that off? That's okay. Or if you're just going to stop yourself out, that's okay too. But it's at a fraction of the size, and you can live to trade another day, which is the most important thing. I think that's it for questions so far. Let me see. Where's the market? 53.3. So little bit of a pullback, went almost up to 54 there.
That's kind of looking like a capitulation, isn't it? A little bit.
Well, every single time we have these moves down, we get up, down, up before. In the past, it's gone up again. Whether it does or not, we'll see. But I wouldn't be surprised if we went back down to 51 again or 49 or something. It wouldn't surprise me at the least. And then it won't give you an opportunity to get on board long. It'll be a brief window. It's not going to slowly grind to 60. It'll if it does.
There's actually a chunk of leveraged short liquidity at 60K, which is waiting to get hosed.
Yeah, actually, when I was looking at the heat map earlier today too, it looked like everyone just was gone, which is not surprising. But it's mostly on the long side now, and it's not a ton. There's most people have been wiped out.
Yeah, the most is at 60K, and it's 28 million. It's nothing.
Yeah. I suppose we'll see the headlines come out later this afternoon and tonight on the extent of the damage. What were the liquidations on Binance, for example, and other ones.
And I think Israel are probably about to start invading Iran or Lebanon or whatever, and probably hitting Iranian assets and calling Iran out for being a paper tiger and all that, which they are. And Iran actually has more troops to keep its own population from revolting than it does to attack other people. Iran has no means to fight a war. They're just full of air. That's why they keep threatening Armageddon and never do it. And so I think we're going to see Israel attack, and I think they'll do nothing about it, and the markets will be very cheered up by that. It's my little prediction.
Nick says he's heard it was about 1 billion in liquidations overnight. Could be. I don't know. Is that cumulative? Nick?
No, I heard the same number. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just take a look at some other news feeds here, and some other stuff. But I'm looking at other different crypto assets. They're weak, but nothing was necessarily crashed. I think ETH got down to 2,200 or something. It's at 2,239 right now. Or no, sorry, that's the wrong feed. Boy, I got too many damn screens here. What am I looking at? Where's ETH? Yeah, 2345. Yeah. It went down as low as 2,000 or just above 2,000, I think, this morning when everything was crapping its pants. So I think that the whole point of this call was that a lot of people were freaking out. Big move. Let's face it. 18% in 1 day is pretty big. On top of the weakness we've seen, we just came from 70,000 for Christ's sakes. That's sizable. And some people are stressed. We were doing things kind of going long in the low 60s, thinking, oh yeah, kind of been here before. You're always aware that it could go down. We've got accounts which are long oriented accounts, like the Synth Miner. It's been slammed. And it's going to take us a little while to pull that back, but it's not going to change our philosophy for that particular account. And we have other accounts that have done much better, or maybe at highs, but they were different strategies.
I think it depends on how good Israel are at taking out Iranian assets. I think if they do a good job and put on a good show for us, then I think we'll be back in the money.
Yeah, and are we going to get? And this is something we covered on our Rogue Trader Academy call earlier today. Is there going to be some type of an emergency central bank news announcement session?
That is a wild card, because if that happens, it could go either way. Because it could either be, yay, printing money, let's get on board, or it could be, oh my god, the world really is coming to an end. And have some massive risk off, counterintuitive event. So, we'll see.
And I think what I was trying to allude to there is, look, we run a lot of books, and we run a lot of different strategies. And you're never going to have them all perform at all-time highs all the time. That's not trading. That's not realistic. Your long strategy is going to suffer when things go down. Just like you buy Tesla goes down. What are you going to do? You're going to sell it. You're going to wait. You're going to average in. I don't know. It's up to you. But you're in that position.
Well, and most people do is they go on Twitter and start telling everyone how great Teslas are.
Yeah, there you go. I should really buy a Tesla. I guess the point is have heart, because if you're running a long strategy and you believe that Bitcoin in 6 months or 6 years is going to be worth 5x or 10x or 100x, then stick to that strategy. If that's what you believe, don't get spooked out by 1 day in the market. I've seen this 1,000 times. I was there trading on a trading floor during 9/11. Guess what happened after that? Holy shit, straight to the moon. I was there trading during the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. Well, guess what? Straight to the frickin' moon afterwards. But it liquidated a lot of people, or disheartened a lot of people.
I believe that over the next 10 years, you'll be able to sell a Bitcoin at $1 million, and you'll be able to buy a Bitcoin at $1.
So we're going to, that's quite the hedge. If you could just tell me when exactly. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Vladimir says, yeah, by the way, if you remember, I said the Bitcoin gives you the opportunity to trade futures and make future spread buying back with huge moves. For example, today I saw 8% premium rather than it was 12% a week ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get the implied interest rates. Yes, they're low right now. If you wanted to buy futures, if you need to buy futures to hedge stuff, now's probably not a bad time. Because when the market does start ripping back, that the carry costs on the perps are going to be horrific.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I always one of the questions we had, our little discussion in our Discord channel for Rogue Trader Academy this morning was about buying perps or dated futures, and the perps can burn you if you hold them too long. They're great for a short-term hedge that they've got their uses, but if you're thinking of holding something, you're probably going to be better off with dated futures, and you can always roll them if it doesn't do what you want by the time they expire.
We've probably bored our audience long enough, right?
Yeah, probably. There's no more questions. We're here. This is the emotional support call.
We're here if you need us, and if you want to talk to us more about your misery or your successes, you can join Rogue Trader Academy, and we can all share it.
Other than that, I really hope that a lot of people get liquidated. And if your equity's down, hey, join the club. There's lots of people in that situation. Don't get disheartened. We can, hold on, or you can adjust. That's the beauty of options, is you can.
I spent my morning soothing the emotions of ruffled hedge fund managers. The strategies I'm running took a very, very small drawdown because we expect it in this kind of market. But other strategies that they're running, that people are being hurt all over the place. Professionals who ought to know better, they are being hurt. And so if you've taken a hit, don't worry, everyone has.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Hey, we'll see you guys for the regular call on Thursday, the regular Deribit Live. See you then, and I can almost guarantee you we're going to be at probably a very different price than we're at right now. So let's hope it's up. I think most people are oriented longs. Let's hope it's up, and we'll see everyone on Thursday.
Okay, bye.
Take care.